Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tabang Makubela, and I'm excited to chat to you about a field of science developed in the 1940s that specifically explains how systems, and by systems I mean machines, organizations, and human beings, achieve goals in unpredictable environments. And I kid you not, once you understand it, you will never look at failure the same way again. So this thing is called cybernetics. Like I said, it was developed in the 1940s, 1948 to be specific, by a gentleman called Norbert Wiener. And at its core, cybernetics is the study of systems of control and communication. So specifically how systems self-regulate through feedback loops. So the core insight here is that any system moving toward a goal uses information about the gap between its current position and its target position to continuously correct its course. I want you to think about a missile, right? So a missile finds its target not because it flies in a straight line, no, but because it is constantly off course and constantly correcting. That correction is not failure. In fact, that correction is a mechanism of success. I've learned that we are not supposed to travel in a straight line when it comes to our goals. What we're supposed to do instead is we're supposed to notice the gap, we're supposed to accept, then process the feedback, and then adjust. And I've learned that the people who build extraordinary things are not the ones who never veer off course, but the ones who correct but correct the fastest. When I started applying cybernetics to my career, to my projects, to my business, something fundamental changed. So I stopped treating every deviation from plan as evidence that my plan was wrong. No, instead, I started to treat that deviation as data. So the gap between where I was and where I wanted to be, stopped being a source of anxiety and instead became a source of information. And what I started to do is I started to ask myself, what does this gap tell me about what needs to change? And that reframe changed everything. It changed how I do things, how I move, etc. As a call to action, this is what I want you to do. I want you to identify the biggest gap in your life between your current state and your target state. So identify it and then interrogate it. Then ask yourself this question: what specific feedback is that gap giving you about your current method? So basically, how you do things currently in your life. After that, write down whatever feedback you have, right? You need to understand that the gap is not your enemy. Instead, the gap is your most honest advisor. And the cybernetic question here is not, why am I failing? Instead, it is, what is this gap telling me to adjust? As I close, I want to leave with this. You are a self-correcting system, but only if you are willing to process the feedback. Stop avoiding the gap. Start leaning towards it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.